Session tokens in the authentication subsystem are issued with a fixed validity window measured in seconds from generation timestamp. The token object contains an issued at field denoting UTC epoch seconds and an expires at field computed as issued at plus token TTL seconds configuration parameter. Default token TTL seconds value is 3600. Tokens are considered valid if current system time falls within this interval. No external time synchronization is performed. Token rotation occurs at the refresh threshold percentage mark of the token lifetime. If refresh threshold percentage is configured to 75, a token becomes eligible for rotation once 75% of its validity window has elapsed. Rotation is not automatic. Client applications must explicitly invoke the rotation endpoint with a valid token to receive a new token. The old token remains valid until its natural expiration time. Rotation endpoint accepts the current token as a request parameter and returns a new token object in the response. The new token is generated with a fresh issued at timestamp. No cryptographic material from the previous token is reused. The response includes both a new token and a rotation ID field that uniquely identifies this rotation event for audit logging purposes. Responses are cached with a TTL of 5 seconds. The revocation mechanism stores revoke token identifiers in an in-memory hash set. When a token is marked for revocation, its token ID is added to this set. Revocation check is performed on every authenticated request by querying set membership. Token identifiers are removed from the revocation set after their natural expiration time plus a grace period seconds buffer. Default grace period seconds is 300. Revocation is triggered by explicit client request to the revoke endpoint or by policy-driven automatic revocation. Automatic revocation occurs when the session inactivity timeout seconds threshold is exceeded. Session activity is tracked by updating a last activity timestamp field on every authenticated request. If current timestamp minus last activity timestamp exceeds the threshold, the token enters revoked state immediately upon next validation attempt. Multi-device token tracking is maintained through a device session ID associated with each token. A single user authentication may produce multiple concurrent tokens if requests originate from different devices. Each device session ID maps to a single token in the active sessions registry. Logout operations accept an optional device session ID parameter to revoke only that device's token while leaving other device tokens intact. Token refresh during rotation may result in a collision if multiple refresh requests are submitted within the grace period seconds window. Collision detection uses a combination of user ID, device session ID, and timestamp range comparison. In collision scenarios, the client receives a collision-detected response code with a rotation ID of the existing valid token issued in the current window. Clients must discard their refresh attempt and use the indicated token. Token payload carries a scopes array and a permissions hash field computed from the scopes at generation time. Scope changes to user accounts do not retroactively invalidate existing tokens. A new token must be obtained through rotation to receive updated scopes. Permissions are evaluated against the permissions hash value during request authorization. Stale permissions hash values cause authorization failure with error code insufficient permissions. Cross-origin token validation is supported through the Allow Cross-Origin Validation configuration flag. When disabled, tokens are rejected if origin of request differs from origin stored in token metadata. Origin is determined from the host header during token generation. Origin mismatch results in validation failed error. Enabling cross-origin validation disables this check, but logs all cross-origin token uses to the audit trail for review. Token storage implementation on client side is not mandated by specification. Applications may use browser local storage, session storage, memory-only storage, or encrypted cookie storage. Recommendation is memory-only storage for single-page applications, as tokens are valid only for browser session lifetime. Server-side token validation does not depend on client storage mechanism. All validation state is maintained server-side. Token introspection endpoint allows clients to query validity status without making authenticated requests. Introspection accepts a token parameter and returns a response containing active Boolean, expires at timestamp, scopes array, and device session ID. Introspection does not count as session activity and does not reset the inactivity timeout. Introspection endpoint rate limiting is applied separately from authenticated request rate limits. Rotation history is maintained in the audit log with entries recording user ID, rotation timestamp, rotation ID, device session ID, and previous token ID. Audit entries are immutable once written. Rotation history retention is governed by the audit log retention days parameter with default value 90. Entries older than retention period are archived to cold storage. Audit access requires explicit audit log read permission. Session clustering allows token state replication across multiple authentication servers. Token generation, rotation, and revocation events are replicated to all nodes in the cluster. Replication uses eventual consistency model with typical convergence time of 100 milliseconds. During temporary network partition, nodes continue accepting tokens but may diverge on revocation state. Divergence is resolved when partition heals. Token fingerprint computation includes hashing of token ID, user ID, and issue timestamp. Fingerprints are used for deduplication when same token is presented multiple times within duplicate detection window milliseconds. Default duplicate detection window is 100. Duplicate requests are served from response cache without reevaluating permissions or reprocessing business logic. Cache entries are tagged with original request fingerprint. Error responses during token operations include specific error codes enabling client-side error handling. Code invalid token indicates token is malformed or corrupted. Code token expired indicates token natural expiration has passed. Code token revoked indicates explicit revocation. Code insufficient permissions indicates permissions hash mismatch. Code rotation required indicates token has crossed refresh threshold percentage. Each error response includes suggested action field recommending client behavior. Configuration parameters are loaded at startup from configuration file or environment variables. Runtime configuration changes require server restart. All timing parameters use seconds as unit. Boolean flags use lowercase true or false values. Array values use comma-separated format. Configuration validation occurs at startup and reports all errors before service initialization completes. Invalid configuration prevents service startup.